Hey everybody, welcome to another installment of Dave's Man Cave Watch Edition. I'm definitely skinnying down my watch collection. Got rid of 4 watches today, and 1 is coming back in. And I'm going to keep doing that. I'm going to get rid of my lesser and lesser. Not that some of my watches aren't quality. I mean, they're Tissot, Seiko, Victorinox. They're all actually very good quality. But I want to get rid of any of the more basic, common watches. I want to get things that are a little more premium. Like my Cuervo y Sobrinos Churchill. So this is my most expensive acquisition. That was $4,300 out the door, and is a absolutely, this thing just makes me happy. Every time I look down at it, I see a watch that looks like a vintage, serious watch, and it's new. It's Swiss, and it's got a nice automatic movement. It's got a cool history. Go watch the video on the Cuervo y Sobrinos Churchill. It's a very interesting watch from a very interesting company. So as I'm looking at certain brands, like I want a Tag. I don't know which one, probably going to be a Carrera. I want a Movado. I don't know which one. I wanted a Hamilton. I want a Frederick Constant. I want like one cool watch from about a dozen different brands. And I'll keep my Tissots and some other stuff, but I want to have a core collection of very interesting watches. So today I went and scored a really good deal on a Hamilton. Now, what did I pay? $750 out the door with tax. This is a watch that typically retails, MSRP from the manufacturer is $1,075. You obviously can find them a little bit cheaper than that, but you probably typically spend $800 or $900 on one. Tripp and Company Jewelers up in Dawsonville. They don't sponsor me. They don't give me anything. I just say, hey, Tripp, what's your best price? And he gives me a really good price. So I figure I'll give him a free plug. That's all that either of us gets out of that. So I've got my regular watch case, and then I've got my automatics, and I'm keeping that to 4 because I have a 4-watch winder. I'm going to get a smaller watch case for my quartz watches because I want to use that to kind of force that, hey, if something's going in, then something's got to come out. I want to keep the collection small and manageable and replace, $300 and $400, $500 watches over time with, $1,000 to $3,000 watches and stuff like that. So right now, my automatic collection consists of my Liv P51 Cripes Mighty, which I really did love the look on the leather strap. But the rubber, the floral rubber orange, to me is more comfortable. I don't have to worry about getting it wet, whereas if I take a shower or jump in the pool, that can get the leather kind of nasty over time. This rubber is awesome. It's curved, so it fits, and it's nice and thick, but it's not super sticky. It doesn't attract hair the way that some of the silicone bands are. So this is just phenomenal, and I think that looks the shiz. So I've got that. Those are about, right now, I think those are almost $1,900. Price went up a little bit. So that's my second most expensive watch. This is my most expensive. And this is one of my cheaper watches. It's an Orient. Made by the Seiko company or owned by Seiko. Automatic movement, in-house movement. Nice little watch. $200. So now, what have we got here? Well, we have the Hamilton. The model on this is the Jazzmaster Open Heart. Let's run through the specs. The reference number, model number, H as in Herbert, 327-05651. Uses their in-house H10 caliber. It's in the Jazzmaster collection. It's an automatic movement, obviously. It is a 42 mil case, stainless steel. Thickness, nice and thin at 11.44 millimeters. 22 mil lug width. It is only 5-bar water resistance, so you can get it splashed in the sink, and that's about it. It is sapphire glass, open exhibition case back. That is a screw down, screw in, and sapphire crystal. It's got a really nice dial. We'll get some close-ups of it. It's got a nice clasp with this with this blue alligator style leather. Might actually be alligator. Let's see. What does the specs say? Survey says it's cow leather. Okay, not alligator. So let's go ahead. Is it a screw down crown? I'm guessing it's not. Not with 5-meter water resistance. There'd be no point. So let's go ahead and pull that out. So on this, you do not have a date, which is fine. I don't always need date. It's just one extra thing to set when your watch is off. Now, granted, I do have them in watch winders for that reason, but there is, yeah, I'm not seeing any date on there. So we don't have a date, which is fine. The movement on this is nice and not loose. It's actually kind of not stiff either, but it is very smooth. We need to set the watch to 5:03, and being that I don't have a date makes it easier because I don't have to be concerned with AM, PM, or having the date wrong. So let's just go ahead. It's 5:03 and change. We'll just put that in the middle. Okay, when you pull that out, it does stop it. I think you can hand wind it, but obviously it is a self-winding automatic. So let's see. We need to size this. Looks rather nice. I wouldn't have minded it actually if it had a regular buckle, but this is nice. You know, the first Cuervo y Sobrinos that I had, I ended up not keeping and swapped it out for the one you see because I really like that band a lot better. And the reason for that was one of the reasons I wanted this bracelet, because this bracelet is just like art. It's $1,000 bracelet just for that alone. But also that one had a butterfly clasp, and it was really kind of finicky doing it with the butterfly clasp and the leather, and it just made it thick and a little bulky, and I just didn't quite care for it. So this does not have micro adjust of any kind, so you really just adjust it on this side. Let's move that up. Looks like it's going to be almost all the way. And see if we can get that on. It is nice and easy. That strap's going to have to break in. It's a little stiff here, so you can see it's kind of straight. It needs to curve. When I put it in the watch winder on the thing, it'll force it around it and kind of help with that. But 42 mil meets my minimum criteria. I believe that is about the same size as my Orient. The Orient has a very cool blue dial, open case back, but it's a much lesser expensive watch. This is nice. I wanted something that was a little more dressy. I love seeing the action. And that's one of the things, you know, here, open case back, exhibition case, right? You can see the movement. Same thing here on my Liv, which is one of my favorite watches, by the way. You need a Liv in your collection. If you don't want to spend $1,800, $1,900, they've got some that are $700, but they've got some really cool watches. But, you know, this is nice being able to see this. However, you can only ever see it whirring away and doing its thing and admire it when you take it off and you lay it on the table and you look at it. You go, here, look. When it's sitting on your wrist, not so much. That's why I wanted something different. I don't have many white dialed watches, although I say that as I have this one, but I don't have a lot of them. This is more of a cream color with the guilloche pattern. This is not. It's a little more white, almost silver with blue numbers and stuff like that. I don't know if there's any lume. Let's find out without blinding myself. Oh, there is some lume on there. Not crazy bright. I would say as far as lume goes, not really great. For people that are all into their lume, yeah. But this is not that kind of watch. You know, I look at lume being important or meaningful to me if it's an outdoor or a sport watch or something I'm going to use in the dark. You know, this kind of watch is a kind of watch you'd wear to the office, you'd wear to a nice dinner, you'd wear to a wedding, job interview. I mean, you can dress down. It can be a little more casual, but this is definitely a dress watch. So other than needing to break in that strap just to get it to flex a little that way so it's not pinching and standing up, I want to lay a little flatter. Really nice. I mean, we'll go do some close-ups here, but it's a nice milled clasp. I believe, you know, if you wanted to change the strap, could you? I'm trying to think of how you would, I mean, I guess there's no exposed ends for the spring bars here, but maybe you'd have to buy a specific strap from them that's made for this. I don't know. But I do like that. I mean, you can adjust it fairly simply. It snaps on. It's not as bulky as the Cuervo y Sobrinos was. It's very, very nice. You've got your Hamilton logo there on the crown. It's very nice. This is very simple, just says Hamilton on it. I like that it is very classy. It is very dressy and nice, and definitely gives off a vibe of quality without it being over the top. You know, sometimes you get a watch, and that's what I liked about this one. This just looks like a vintage piece. Doesn't look like a Rolex. I don't know if Rolex has anything like that, but that looks like a vintage, nice timepiece. It just happens to be new and limited edition and all that stuff with modern movement and technology and CNC machining and hand fitting and all that good stuff. But it's not, to me, that's not too showy. I think the bracelet is almost pushing it. I mean, that is a really standout bracelet. That just, to me, looks like someone might just wear a nice bracelet like that. But the watch itself, I like that it's very classy and it's very kind of vintage looking. And this gives me a similar kind of feel. It's not quite as vintage, but it just looks like a nice watch. Fit and finish, it's a Hamilton. Hamilton is a great watch company, really good value for money. It's a nice movement. I don't know how many jewels. Everybody wants to know how many jewels. Got to have the jewels. Does it say? It does say 80-hour power reserve, which is really good. Most of my watches that have are automatics, they're going to be in the 38 to 42-ish. So this is up with the Tissot Powermatic 80s. So this is an 80-hour, I mean, that's what, 3 days? A little over 3 days? Doesn't matter when you got a watch winder, but if you don't have a watch winder and you only wear it every other day, or, it's nice to not have to come back and have your watch dead and you got to reset it and wind it and stuff. So I think that's very cool. I'm going to wear that. I think that's a nice watch. It's not too dressy, and that is going to be my automatic watch collection for right now. We've got Cuervo y Sobrinos Churchill. We've got the Liv P51 Cripes Mighty with an upgraded brace strap. I do still have my Orient. The only other automatic I've got right now is a Pagani homage to a Black Bay from Tudor. This is going to sit in my watch winding case as a placeholder until I get a Black Bay 41 millimeter from Tudor. I'm going to get a legit one. Probably going to get it with a red NATO strap, just because I've got leather, rubber, bracelet. Every watch that's coming in, I'm trying to get rid of having like 7 different dive watches with blue dials, right? I'm trying to get to where each watch is truly different, If you're going to have like a bike collection, do you want 7 different Harleys, or is it good to have a Busa, then you got a track bike, then you got a dirt bike, then you got a you know what I mean? Have something for different purposes, for a different look, different vibe, different activities and things like that. Having a bunch of bikes or cars or watches that are all basically the same. And I know some people say, well, on some level, they all tell time. They're all the same. No, they're not. When you look at it beyond just telling time and you look at it as a piece of men's jewelry, coordinated as an accessory with your outfit, things like that, it's more than just a watch. If you just want a watch, go get a Timex or an Apple Watch and, be done with it. If you want something that's a bit more, that's got history, some nostalgia, it's art, it's got real craftsmanship, all that stuff. You've got 200 moving little parts in here that all have to be machined down to thousandths of an inch and assembled just right and not over lubricated, but not under lubricated, so that this thing will keep accurate time from a spring and things swinging back and forth. That is not easy. That is a real art and a skill to design, manufacture, and assemble these things. And that's what I like about them. This is not just a watch. If you just want to go get a digital watch, go get a digital watch. It's basically a circuit board with an LCD, and you just put it in a case, and there you go. I like these. I think watches are very interesting, and especially something like that I think is beautiful. I love that blue. I love the blue tying into the blue on the dial. Very simple to get on and off. Unlike the Cuervo, the first one I had, that had the butterfly, and it just, and because this piece of the strap was on the outside, so you're doing one half of the butterfly, then you're trying to do the other while you tuck the excess strap into the loops and then try to pull it this way while snapping at the same time. It was a pain. And that was one of the main reasons why I was like, you know what, I should just go back and get swap it out and get the one with the bracelet. This one avoids that problem. And at first when I saw the thing, I was like, oh, I'm going to be back where I started. would I get this? Would I keep it with this strap? Would I get a different strap? And then when I saw, no, this is more just like a conventional, boom, open, close, and once you've set it for your size, which is easy just by pulling that out and moving it, yeah, that's easy. That's how I feel the Cuervo should have done it. Had they done that, I might have kept that one. It was a GMT. It was pretty cool. But between it being finicky, I wanted the bracelet. This one doesn't suffer from it, so I'm very happy with that. Let's see. Is there anything else? I don't think so. Like, this is a really nice watch. The only thing I could say is because you have a lot sticking out there, you kind of see, but I guess it doesn't matter. I mean, I don't think there's any other way to kind of keep that from, wiggling or moving that way. I think if you had bigger, thicker wrists, I have long arms, but they're not thick at the wrist, you'd have less there and it wouldn't be an issue. But I have 7.3-inch wrists and I am on the second last. So if you've got like a 7-inch wrist, I think this would be too big for you. You'd be having to punch new holes and then you'd have a lot of extra slack going all the way up to probably here. So that's the only downside when you get into some of these kinds of watches that have these real fancy clasps and things like that, is that you may find that it doesn't fit your wrist. You might love the watch, you might love the size this way, and then you're like, I'm running out of holes, I gotta punch a hole, and then I got too much slack, and it's leather. If you had a NATO strap, you could cut the NATO strap and trim it with a pair of scissors and then burn it with a lighter, and it would look like it came from the factory that way, because that's how they do it. So, very impressed. Not a lot of money, $695 plus tax for an automatic 80-hour power reserve sapphire crystal Hamilton. That's a good brand, and that's a great watch. I really like that a lot. So I'll stop talking just for a minute, just so you can see that dial up close. You can see that crown. And you know what? Let's just pop this out for a second so you can see the case back and see the movement. Read the lettering. Sides look nice. And I love being able to see the movement. That's what drew the two. The color with the blue accents and the blue strap, but being able to see the movement while you wear the watch, as opposed to having to take the watch off and admire it through a window in the back. This is mechanical art. And every time you look down, you get to see it in motion. You get to see the passage of time. You get to see this thing doing what it does behind the scenes, instead of just, that the hands are pointing to these numbers. That's what I liked about this. And I was looking at a Movado and some others. I almost got the Movado, but then I was like, you know what? The Movado is, now I would have paid less for it, but they wanted like $895. So, okay, let's say I could have gotten that for $6 or something, or $620. But I was like, it was just a quartz watch. It was very pretty. It had a beautiful green dial, and I may still get one because I think I can get a really good deal on it. But today I was like, I want something different. I want a Hamilton. I don't want another dive watch. A lot of their watches are smaller. Their field watches are smaller, although very nice. And then I was like, oh, look at that. Open Heart, blue, 42 mil, automatic, 80-hour power reserve. I was like, get Tripp to give me his best price and package it up. Came in a nice little box. I'm sure there's a manual or something in here. I don't know where it is. But there you have it. Absolutely beautiful. Lovely. Going into my collection. What am I going to wear right now? I think I'm going to go back to the Live. I've been put on this new strap today and definitely digging that. So anyway, that is what's going on in Dave's world with watches. We are downsizing and then adding things back in, but they're all going to be more premium brands. Hamiltons. I want to get into Frederick Constant. I want to get into Tudor, a Breitling at some point. Probably won't go Rolex, but there are some other brands. A Baume Mercier, that one's high on my list right now. And there's an Alpine. There's an Alpine I can get for about $1,800. That's very AP Royal Oakish. It's really, really nice. I almost got that one today. And I was like, no, I'm going to save a little money, worry about that later, get past the holidays and stuff. And I was like, if I can get a good deal on a Hamilton, I'm going to take that. And Tripp hooked me up, and so here we are. Anyway, went long. Sorry about that. If you like this stuff, hit like and subscribe, and then we'll talk to you guys later.